I want you to picture something for a second.
Mm.
You are, scrolling through your phone, right?
Just doing the usual mindless scrolling.
Exactly. And you land on a page filled with sun-drenched beaches, matching pastel outfits, and that absolute perfect #soft life aesthetic.
Oh, I know the exact vibe you mean.
Right. It is calming, it is highly curated, and it has drawn in over 400,000 followers. You are looking at this serene mother-daughter duo, just living the dream.
It looks like paradise, basically.
Yeah, but now I want you to imagine opening a new tab, and this one is on the Tor network.
Oh, wow. That is quite the shift.
It really is. It is a dark web marketplace. And instead of pastel filters, you are looking at Bitcoin transfers, an undercover FBI sting, and a $14,000 bounty for a murder.
It is honestly still hard to wrap my head around.
The cameras flashed. The crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a massive new obsession. TikTok influencer Gabbie Gonzalez and her father are behind bars, arrested for allegedly hiring a hitman to kill her ex, former boy band singer Jack Avery.
A literal nightmare hiding behind a ring light.
Exactly. Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
From red carpet surprises to social media controversies.
We dive deep into the stories behind the fame, and we have a truly unprecedented deep dive today.
We really do. We are pulling from court documents, district attorney press releases, and explosive reports from TMZ, The Independent, Courthouse News, and a few others.
Just trying to synthesize everything.
Exactly, because we want to unpack exactly how a bitter Hollywood custody dispute mutated into a sinister dark web conspiracy.
And to really grasp how we end up with a federal sting operation, we have to look at the massive chasm between the public facade and the private reality.
That gap is just wild in this case.
Right. On one side of this, we have Gabbie Gonzalez. She's a 24-year-old lifestyle and motherhood influencer.
And her entire brand is built on this.
Yeah, it completely relies on projecting peace, travel, and just tranquility.
Which, is incredibly effective. I mean, social media algorithms, especially in the parenting and wellness spheres, they heavily reward the halo effect.
The halo effect. Wait, explain that for a second.
So when you see a glowing, tranquil mother figure in beautiful lighting, your brain subconsciously assigns moral goodness to that person. We are literally conditioned to trust the aesthetic.
Oh, that makes total sense. We think good.
Exactly.
Well, on the other side of this dynamic, we have Jack Avery. He's 26 years old, the former lead singer of the hugely successful boy band, Why Don't We?
Huge fan base there.
Massive. So they started dating in 2018, and the relationship moved at warp speed. They welcomed their daughter, Lavender, in 2019.
But they split up very shortly after she was born, right?
Yeah, almost immediately. And that is where the curated fairy tale instantly vanishes. The brutal, multi-year custody dispute kicks into gear.
And custody battles are notoriously high conflict anyway. But the mechanics of this specific dispute are what make it so incredibly volatile.
Because usually you have two parents fighting for legal footing.
Right. But here, a third party enters the arena with significant resources. Enter Francisco Gonzalez, Gabbie's 59-year-old father.
And this is where my brain just starts short-circuiting. Francisco is not just a protective, overbearing grandfather.
Not at all.
He is a practicing civil lawyer based in Florida. He understands the justice system. He knows how discovery works.
He knows the law inside and out.
Yeah, yet he allegedly becomes completely consumed by this mission to erase Jack from the picture entirely. According to the court documents, Francisco initially hires a private investigator to run heavy surveillance on Jack.
Right, and we should probably explain why a lawyer goes straight to a PI in family court.
Yeah, what's the strategy there?
Well, in a custody dispute, especially one involving high net worth or high profile individuals, you are looking for a silver bullet to prove the other parent is unfit.
Like looking for dirt.
Exactly. The PI is out there trying to document erratic behavior, excessive drinking, drug use, reckless driving, whatever they can find.
So you can just hand that over to the judge.
Yeah, if you can bring a binder of that evidence to a family court judge, you legally strip the other parent of their rights.
It's aggressive, but I guess it's a known legal strategy.
Yeah.
But here's my question for you. Francisco is an officer of the court. He builds cases for a living.
Right.
At what point does a guy who understands the law completely abandon it? It feels very much like Gone Girl meets Succession.
Oh, that is the perfect comparison.
Right. Like at what point does a protective parent cross the line from standard legal surveillance into plotting a permanent, fatal solution.
I mean, how does a professional card counter walk into a casino, throw away all their math, and just bet their life savings on a random roulette spin?
Exactly. Because they are acting entirely on emotion. How does that happen?
Well, it really comes down to the psychology of control. When someone who is used to navigating and manipulating systems like a civil lawyer encounters a system that doesn't give them what they want, the frustration is immense.
So the system failed him, in his eyes.
Right. The legal route failed to provide the total victory Francisco and Gabbie demanded. The private investigator didn't find that silver bullet to prove Jack was a danger.
There's no dirt to find.
Exactly. So when the court doesn't validate your narrative, the cognitive dissonance kicks in. Instead of accepting the court's reality, they double down on their own.
And that need for control just spirals.
It spirals into a dark obsession. We see the peak of that toxicity in the arrest affidavit. Witnesses told investigators that Francisco was so desperate to get full custody of his granddaughter, he allegedly stated it would be, quote, cheaper if Avery were dead.
Wow. Cheaper if Avery were dead. That is chilling.
It really is.
But Francisco and Gabbie didn't just vent their frustrations and leave it at that. Because the private investigator found nothing and the legal strategy hit a brick wall, the frustration mutated.
They needed a new way to force Jack out.
Which leads us to the first major escalation. But wait. If you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead as this sting operation finally snaps shut.
You definitely do not want to miss where this goes.
Because Francisco and Gabbie didn't stop at private investigators. Later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking alias they used to order a hit and the undercover trap they walked right into.
Yeah, the shift from legal surveillance to illegal intimidation is wild. The timeline here shows a clear progression of desperation. Let's look at March 2021.
Okay, set the scene for us.
Both Jack Avery and Gabbie's then-boyfriend, a 26-year-old Hawaii surf instructor named Cordrey, live on the island of Kauai.
So Gabbie and Cordrey allegedly decide to apply some localized pressure. They try to recruit a former MMA fighter and boxing trainer named Dustin Barca.
Right. And the goal here, according to prosecutors, was essentially to hire muscle.
Just to scare him.
Yeah, they wanted Bursa to physically intimidate Jack into packing up and leaving the island. It's an escalation from surveillance to an active threat.
But I want to make this very clear for you listening.
Yeah.
Dustin Barca completely declined.
Good for him.
Yeah, he refused to get involved in anything illegal. He hasn't been accused of any wrongdoing, and he faces 0 charges. He heard the pitch and immediately wanted nothing to do with it.
Which you would think might be a massive wake-up call for Gabbie and her boyfriend.
Right, like, hey, the professional fighter thinks this is a bad idea. Maybe we should stop trying to run the father of your child out of town.
But they didn't stop. When intimidation failed, they leaped straight over the edge into seeking murder.
Which brings us to the financial mechanics of this alleged plot, starting in April 2021.
This is where Francisco, the lawyer, allegedly steps back into the frame. Financial records show that Francisco sent Cordrey $10,000.
Okay, wait. I have to stop and ask about this because this detail drives me crazy.
It's the most absurd part.
How did he send this massive sum of money for an alleged hit? Did he use some untraceable offshore account? Did he hand over a briefcase of non-sequential bills?
No, not even close.
He used Square, the app you use to buy a latte at a farmer's market. And he disguised the payment with a memo for web development.
Web development? I mean, come on.
How does a lawyer think that is going to work? Doesn't Square have algorithms to catch this stuff?
They absolutely do. Platforms like Square, PayPal, Venmo, they all use complex anti-money laundering algorithms.
Right, AML checks.
Yeah. Any sudden, large transaction, especially between individuals without an established history of high-value commerce, gets flagged for review immediately.
So why do it?
Hubris. Francisco likely assumed that by labeling it web development, he was providing a boring, plausible business justification that would satisfy a basic automated check.
He thought he was outsmarting the robot.
Exactly. He fundamentally misunderstood how deep financial forensics go when a subpoena is eventually issued. Cordrey later admitted he never performed any web development services whatsoever.
It is a staggering lack of digital hygiene. But Cordrey takes that $10,000, and he knows he can't just wire it to a hitman.
No, that would be too obvious.
So he converts it into cryptocurrency to try and hide his tracks.
Right. And we should unpack how crypto on-ramping works here, because it's a very common misconception that Bitcoin is perfectly invisible.
People think it's like digital cash.
Exactly, but it's actually pseudonymous, not anonymous. When Cordrey takes money from a linked bank account via Square and buys crypto on an exchange, he leaves a permanent, unalterable record on the public blockchain.
So it's literally written in stone forever.
Yes. If law enforcement gets his wallet address, they can trace every single digital penny right back to his real-world identity.
But they don't know that yet. So Cordrey takes his crypto and hits the Tor network. He logs onto a dark web murder-for-hire site using the absolute most cliché alias you could possibly imagine.
Oh my gosh, the alias.
Lizard King 69.
It sounds absurd, almost like a bad movie script, but the reality of what he was doing is terrifying.
It really is. Using this alias, Cordrey provides Jack's home address in Los Angeles. The target is locked in.
And they even discuss the preferred method of execution.
Yeah, they explicitly request that the murder be staged to look like a tragic Los Angeles car crash.
But here is where the mechanics of the dark web completely backfire on them. You go online, you offer 10 grand, you think you've hired a professional.
Right.
But in June 2021, the administrator of this hitman site messages Lizard King 69 back and essentially says, hey, this is a high-profile target.
Meaning he's a celebrity.
Exactly. They say this is going to require an expert. We need another $4,000.
And Francisco Gonzalez allegedly pays it. He fronts the extra cash, bringing the total to $14,000 to murder a 26-year-old musician.
It's just wild. But what Francisco and Cordrey didn't realize is how these dark web hitman sites actually function.
Right. I was reading the source material and thinking, are there really just Yelp directories for contract killers out there? How does the FBI even monitor this?
It's a fascinating cat and mouse game. The reality is the vast majority of murder-for-hire sites on the dark web are either complete scams designed to steal crypto from desperate people.
Just ripping them off.
Yeah, or they are honeypots operated directly by law enforcement agencies.
Yeah.
The FBI and international cyber task forces set up or take over these sites, specifically to catch people who lack operational security.
So they build a site that looks legitimate.
They do, and they wait for someone to deposit Bitcoin and provide a target, and then they slowly reel them in to collect undeniable evidence of intent.
And that is exactly what happened here. The site administrator wasn't who they thought it was.
Not at all.
The person Cordrey eventually starts communicating with to finalize the logistics of this car crash. That was an undercover FBI agent posing as a contract killer.
Incredible.
By September 2021, Cordrey is speaking directly to this undercover agent. He confirms on tape that Gabbie wants the murder carried out, and he confirms that her father is the one handling the finances.
The trap is literally being set.
And Francisco actually gets on the phone himself.
Yeah.
According to the DA's office and court filings, Francisco contacted the undercover agent directly.
Yes.
The sources noted they used a specific code word to verify the target, and that password was Bull Run.
Bull Run. You can't make this up.
They discussed the Bitcoin payments. They verified the proof of death requirements.
Yeah.
The FBI had it all on tape.
They had them dead to rights. And if you are loving these pop culture twists and deep dives into the mechanics behind the headlines, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Because the fallout from this sting operation is massive. But wait. Tom, I need to interrupt you right here because I am looking at this timeline and my brain is screaming at me.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
I know you listening are probably catching this too.
Yeah.
You just said they had the recorded phone calls with Cordrey. They had the code word Bull Run with the lawyer dad.
Yep.
They had the Bitcoin receipts traced back to the Square account. And they had all of this locked down in September 2021.
Right.
But they weren't arrested until May 2026. Jack Avery was walking around with a target on his back, traveling for custody visits for almost 5 years while the FBI had the receipts. How is that possible?
It's an incredibly frustrating reality, and it is a crucial question. It all comes down to the immense burden of proof required in federal conspiracy cases.
But they had them on tape.
Having someone on tape discussing a crime is strong, sure. But to secure a slam-dunk conviction for conspiracy to commit murder and solicitation charges that carry up to 25 years to life prosecutors around, prosecutors need an airtight narrative.
So they can't leave any wiggle room.
Exactly. It has to withstand any defense attorney's counter-narrative. A defense lawyer could look at that tape and say, well, Francisco was just paying for a website, and Cordrey went rogue and used the money for this without Francisco's knowledge. Or they could say, they thought the dark website was a prank and were just role-playing.
So they have to eliminate the shadow of a doubt. They have to prove that the intent, the money, and the coordination were inextricably linked.
Precisely. Reports suggest the federal investigation actually stalled out around 2023. Sometimes federal agencies prioritize different cases, or they feel they just don't have the definitive link to arrest all the conspirators simultaneously without someone slipping through the cracks.
That makes sense legally, but practically it's terrifying.
But what ultimately happened here is a jurisdictional handoff. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department essentially revived the case.
I picked up the ball.
Yeah, they took the federal evidence, conducted new witness interviews to close the gaps, gathered fresh corroborating evidence, and finally handed a comprehensive, bulletproof package over to LA County District Attorney Nathan Hochman.
That handoff gave them the teeth they finally needed. But man, think about the psychological toll on Jack Avery during those 5 years.
That must have been agonizing.
In a recent interview, he actually mentioned that law enforcement had come to his house and warned him that someone was actively trying to kill him.
Just a knock on the door, hey, you have a hit on you.
Yeah. He didn't know for absolute certain it was Gabbie's camp at the time, but he knew his life was in imminent danger. He said he had to learn to compartmentalize his own sheer terror just to continue traveling to see his daughter for custody visits.
The strength required to do that is unfathomable.
Seriously.
Knowing there is a literal price on your head, but still willfully walking into a toxic, high-conflict family dynamic just to ensure you remain a father to your child.
It's heartbreaking. Which brings us to the moment where the legal net finally closes and that pristine pastel soft life illusion shatters into a million pieces.
You take down.
May 15th, 2026. Gabbie Gonzalez is arrested while trying to board a flight in Humboldt County up in Northern California.
And thousands of miles away, simultaneously, her father, Francisco, is arrested in Florida, awaiting extradition to California.
The charges they are hit with are massive: attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation of murder.
And this is where the story shifts from a shocking true crime thriller into just a profoundly heartbreaking reality.
It really does. Because at the center of this dark web conspiracy, underneath all the legal maneuvering and the hitman aliases, is a 7-year-old girl named Lavender.
Yeah, the real victim here.
When Gabbie was arrested at the airport, Lavender was right there with her. And because there was no one else present to take custody, this child was briefly placed into the foster care system.
Which is so traumatizing. Jack immediately flew up to Northern California the second he got the call to get her out of foster care.
Of course he did.
But the court documents reveal a really tragic situation when they finally reunited. Jack claims that Lavender actually blamed him for her mother's arrest.
How did that even happen? How does a child rationalize that the dad is at fault when the mom is the one in handcuffs?
It is a textbook manifestation of parental alienation.
Tell me more about that.
Well, in high-conflict custody cases, one parent will often engage in a systematic campaign of manipulation. They continuously badmouth the other parent, frame them as dangerous or abusive, and essentially rewrite the child's reality.
Brainwashing, basically.
Exactly. Jack alleges that Gabbie had spent years trash-talking him to Lavender. So, when a traumatizing event occurs, like police taking her mother away, the child's manipulated worldview defaults to blaming the parent they've been taught is the enemy.
It's compounding trauma on top of trauma for this little girl. And the harassment didn't even stop once Jack got Lavender back safely to his home in L.A.
It kept going.
Oh yeah, he immediately filed for an emergency restraining order, detailing an incredibly terrifying ongoing reality. He has Ring camera footage of Gabbie's friends coming to his house after the arrest.
You've got to be kidding me.
Ringing on his front door, looking right into the camera lens and taunting him. They were literally saying, "We can do this all day."
Which is astounding. The mother of his child is sitting in jail on a $2 million bail for attempting to hire a hitman. And her social circle is still showing up to intimidate the victim?
It's unreal.
It demonstrates a profound level of entitlement and absolute delusion surrounding this group.
Thankfully, the legal system did its job this time. The judge saw right through the intimidation tactics. The temporary restraining order was granted.
Oh, good.
Gabbie is legally banned from coming within 100 yards of Jack or Lavender, and Jack is seeking sole legal and physical custody, requesting that Gabbie receive 0 visitation rights while these criminal proceedings move forward.
And as the heavy legal reality sets in for Gabbie and Francisco, the viral response online has been equally explosive because the internet is finally watching the mask slip in real time.
Oh, the internet went absolutely wild, and one voice cut through all the noise online: Lexi Abner. She is Jack's ex-girlfriend who dated him after he had split with Gabbie.
Right, she spoke out.
Lexi took to social media and basically said, "The truth is finally out. She claimed she had known about this plot for years, but couldn't say anything publicly because of the ongoing investigation.
She even mentioned that a detective had contacted her last year, right, as the LA County Sheriff's Department was reviving the case and conducting those new witness interviews.
Exactly. And Lexi revealed something that really puts Jack's daily life into perspective. She said that this looming danger, the constant threat of a hitman, was the actual reason she had to break up with Jack.
Wow.
It was simply too dangerous to be around him. But what really struck me was Lexi pointing out the sheer, unadulterated hypocrisy of Gabbie's online presence.
The contrast is jarring.
Lexi called Gabbie the abuser and the instigator.
Yeah.
She expressed how utterly exhausting it was to sit in silence and watch Gabbie post every single day from the North Shore of Hawaii about her trauma and her emotional abuse and degrading men.
All while secretly funding a dark web hitman to kill the father of her child.
Exactly. It's just sickening.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next in the pop culture world, because the ripple effects of this case are going to change how we view influencer culture entirely. I want you to really think about the cognitive dissonance at play here. Imagine scrolling through your feed and seeing this glowing, peaceful motherhood influencer. She is selling you wellness, she is selling you a lifestyle, she is selling you a philosophy of peace.
A little soft life package.
Right. But behind that screen, on another tab, she is allegedly browsing a murder-for-hire catalog.
Using Bitcoin funded by her lawyer dad to stage a car crash.
Social media curation has become the ultimate mask for real-world darkness. And the danger is that we fall for it. We see pastel colors and smiling children, and the halo effect takes over.
We automatically assign moral goodness to that person.
This case is a horrifying reminder that the digital persona you consume is entirely distinct from the human reality behind the keyboard.
It really makes you question every single perfect life you see online. Which leads me to this final thought for you to mull over as we wrap up this deep dive.
What's that?
Well, when that digital facade finally shatters, when the influencer is sitting in a Los Angeles County jail cell, wearing a standard-issue blue hoodie instead of a designer beach cover-up, and there is no ring light to soften the harsh reality of a courtroom, what happens to the massive digital footprint they leave behind?
That's a great question.
Those thousands of videos and photos projecting a perfect, peaceful life don't just disappear from the internet. And more importantly, as she grows up, how does a child like Lavender ever reconcile the peaceful, smiling mother she saw on TikTok with the woman described in a federal indictment for attempted murder?
It is a haunting legacy to leave behind.
It really is. You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.